78% of people live paycheck to paycheck. Let that number sink in for a second. That is not a small group of people on the fringes of society. That is the majority. That is most of the people you know, your neighbors, your coworkers, your family members, people who work hard every single day and still have almost nothing to show for it at the end of the month. And here's what makes it even more shocking. It is not just people on low incomes. Studies have found that a significant number of people earning over $100,000 a year also live paycheck to paycheck. Earning more money did not save them, because the problem was never the amount coming in. The problem is something much deeper than that. Today we are going to talk about exactly why this happens. Not in a vague motivational way, but in a real specific, honest way that nobody ever explained to you before. And by the end of this video, you are going to understand the financial system in a way that most adults, including highly educated ones, simply do not. Think about everything school taught you. You learned how to solve for x in an algebra equation you will never use again. You learned the dates of wars that happened centuries ago. You maybe even learned how to dissect a frog. 12 to 16 years of mandatory education, thousands of hours in a classroom. And in all of that time, did anyone ever sit you down and explain how compound interest works? Did anyone show you what happens when you carry a credit card balance for 5 years? Did anyone explain what a tax bracket actually means, or how your paycheck gets cut down before it even reaches you? Almost certainly not. This is not an accident. The school system was designed during the Industrial Revolution to produce workers, people who would show up, follow instructions, and spend their wages. It was never designed to produce financially independent people who understood how to build wealth. That knowledge was always reserved for a much smaller group. So you graduated, you entered the real world, and you were handed a credit card, a car loan, a mortgage application, all before anyone had ever explained to you how any of these things actually worked. You were set up to make mistakes, and most people spend the next 20 or 30 years paying for those mistakes without ever understanding why. Now here's something that nobody warns you about, and it is one of the most dangerous financial traps that exists, because you never feel it happening. Imagine you are 25 years old earning $3,000 a month. Life is tight, but you manage. Then you get a promotion. Now you earn $4,500 a month. What happens? You upgrade your apartment, you get a better car, you start eating out more, you buy nicer clothes, your subscriptions multiply, your weekend trips get more expensive. 6 months later, you check your savings account. It looks almost identical to when you were earning $3,000. Where did the extra $1,500 go every month? It evaporated, silently, without you ever making a conscious decision to spend it. This is called lifestyle creep, and it follows people their entire working lives. Every raise, every bonus, every new job, absorbed immediately by a higher standard of living. And the really painful part is that the lifestyle upgrades never feel optional in the moment. They feel like natural progression, like you deserve them, and you do deserve to enjoy your money. But if every single dollar of improvement in your income gets consumed by consumption, you will be working forever, because you will never build the financial foundation that lets you stop. Let me tell you something about debt that the banks hope you never figure out. When a bank offers you a credit card with a $10,000 limit, and a rewards program, and a sleek design, they are not doing you a favor. They are opening a business relationship that is extraordinarily profitable for them, and extraordinarily expensive for you. A credit card charging 22% annual interest means that if you carry a $5,000 balance and only pay the minimum each month, you will take over 5 years to pay it off. And by the time you are done, you will have paid back more than $11,000. More than double what you originally spent. But here is the part that really gets me. Banks hire behavioral psychologists, entire departments dedicated to studying how human beings think and feel about money, specifically so they can make debt feel comfortable, feel normal, feel like just a part of life. Contactless payment so you never feel the physical pain of handing over cash. Buy now, pay later, so the cost feels disconnected from the purchase. Minimum payments so the number looks manageable even when the total is not. The average household is carrying over $6,000 in credit card debt right now. Not because those people are irresponsible, but because they were handed a product specifically engineered to be hard to put down and even harder to pay off. Debt is a cage, and the cruelest part is that most people inside it spent their own money decorating the walls. Real quick, if nobody ever sat you down and explained any of this, and you are finding this useful, hit subscribe. We put out a brand new video every single day covering money, investing, and wealth building. It is completely free, and it might be the most valuable thing you do today. Now let us keep going because what comes next is where it really gets interesting. Here is a question. If I told you there was a way to turn $200 a month into over $500,000, using zero skill, requiring almost no time, and carrying very manageable risk, would you be interested? Of course you would. That is exactly what investing in a basic index fund does over time. A 25-year-old who puts $200 a month into a simple index fund that tracks the stock market, historically averaging around 8 to 10% annual returns, will have somewhere between $500,000 and $700,000 by the time they are 65. They never had to pick a single stock. They never had to understand complicated financial instruments. They just had to start and stay consistent. Now here's the painful flip side. A person who waits until they are 35 to start that same $200 monthly investment, they retire with less than half. Not because they invested less money in total, but because they lost the most powerful force in personal finance: time. Compound interest needs time to work. The longer the runway, the more explosive the result. So why does almost nobody do this? Because it feels abstract. The reward is 40 years away, and there is always something more urgent to spend $200 on right now. This is the trap, and it costs people hundreds of thousands of dollars in retirement wealth. Not from bad decisions, but from no decision at all. Everything we have talked about so far, the debt, the lifestyle creep, the failure to invest, they are all symptoms of something deeper, a mindset that most people were handed without ever knowing it. The mindset goes like this: you work, you get paid, you pay your bills, you spend what is left, and you repeat that until you are too old to work anymore. That is the cycle. And for most people, it is the only cycle they ever know. The people who build real wealth think about money in a completely different way. They do not ask how much they earn, they ask how much they keep. They do not think about spending what is left after bills. They think about investing first and living on what remains. They do not trade their time for money indefinitely. They use their money to buy back their time. Robert Kiyosaki described it simply: the poor and middle class work for money. The wealthy make money work for them. That one shift in thinking changes everything. Because once your money is working, once it is invested and growing, it starts generating income whether you are awake or asleep, working or resting, healthy or sick. Most people never make this shift, not because they lack intelligence, but because nobody ever showed them there was another way to think about this. The default setting is work and spend. Changing that default is the most important financial decision you will ever make. So after everything we have just covered, what do you actually do? I am going to give you 3 rules, not 10, not 20. 3. Because complexity is the enemy of action, and action is the only thing that matters here. Rule number 1, pay yourself first, before you pay your rent, before you pay your electricity bill, before you buy anything at all. You move 10% of every paycheck into a separate savings or investment account the moment it arrives. Not what is left over at the end of the month, because what is left over at the end of the month is almost always zero. You pay yourself first, non-negotiable. Rule number 2, destroy high-interest debt before you do anything else. If you are carrying credit card debt at 20% or 22% interest, that is your priority. No investment reliably beats that return. Paying off a 22% debt is the same as getting a guaranteed 22% return on your money. Nothing in the stock market can promise you that. Clear the debt first, then invest. Rule number 3, Automate everything. Set up an automatic transfer that moves money into an investment account on the same day your salary arrives every month. Remove yourself from the equation entirely. The biggest enemy of long-term investing is your own brain in a weak moment, deciding you need that money for something else. Automation removes that decision. The money moves before you can talk yourself out of it. 3 rules. That is it. Not glamorous, not complicated. But these 3 habits, applied consistently over time, are what separate the people who quietly build wealth from the people who reach retirement age wondering where 40 years of income went. Most people stay broke their entire lives not because they are lazy, not because they are unlucky, not because they were born into the wrong circumstances. Most people stay broke because the system they grew up in never gave them the knowledge to do anything different. And you cannot play a game well if nobody ever told you the rules. But you now know the rules. You know about lifestyle creep. You know how debt is engineered to trap you. You know what compound interest does when you start early versus when you wait. You know the difference between working for money and making money work for you. You know the 3 rules that build wealth quietly over time. The question, the only question that matters now, is what you do with that knowledge. Because information without action is just entertainment. Start today, not Monday, not when you get your next raise. Today, even if it is $20 a month into a savings account, even if it is just deleting one unused subscription. The size of the first step does not matter. Taking the step is what matters, because every single person who ever built real financial security started exactly where you are right now, knowing a little more than they knew yesterday and deciding to do something about it. If this video opened your eyes to something, subscribe right now. We post every single day, and tomorrow we are going into something even bigger. The people who build real wealth are not smarter than you. They just learned things you have not been taught yet. Come back tomorrow and we will keep fixing that together.